Jay, it's good to have you here today. Hello, hello. My name's Mike. I'm one of the veteran benefits specialists here with American Income. We handle the benefits for like Texas VFW, American Legion, and AM Vets. How you doing today?
Doing well, man.
Good, good. Now, are you part of any of those veteran service organizations at all, Jay? Like maybe a VFW, anything like that?
Yep, I'm in the VFW.
Really? All right. Well, veterans of foreign war don't hear it not nearly enough. Not only thank you and appreciate your service there, Jay, but welcome home to you as well. Now, do you get very involved with your VFW at all?
Probably not as much as I should.
You keep your dues up, maybe go to a spaghetti dinner or two, but other
Yeah,
than that, you keep things pretty calm. All right. Are you working these days, or is it just staying at home?
yeah, I'm working.
Okay, so definitely staying busy. All right. Well, all that being said here, again, my name's Mike. I've been working with the veterans here for about 4 years. I'm out of St. Louis, Missouri, so not too far from you. Back before the pandemic, they'd have me travel all across the country. Now they got me working from home, so it's a lot easier for everybody. You mentioned that you're working. What line of work are you in?
I drive trucks.
Okay. Are you doing just stuff here local, kind of home overnight, or are you
Nope,
doing
I'm
over
everywhere
the road?
across country.
Ooh, that's a special type right there. All right. Well, I'm sure you're staying busy. Anything you get to do in your free time?
I play with my dog and I get yelled at by my wife.
All right. Well, that's all good, man. Same here. Well, I know you mentioned that you don't get very involved with your veteran service organization. So what I'm going to do here is actually share my screen. This is a copy of the letter that all of the veterans there in VFW of Texas get sent out. Uh, you know, As the letter states, my job is really just to issue out what's known as your no matter what benefits and explain all of your options. Now, I'm going to take some time here today, Jay, to answer all of your questions and help you get enrolled into your benefits if you can qualify for them. At the end, the only thing your state adjutant asks is that we fill out a report form together. That's going to let VFW know that I basically went over everything and I did my job. Is that fair?
It's fair.
Okay. Well, Jay, again, your VFW posts, they don't know your personal situation, but they had found that there's a large lack of knowledge when it comes to veterans knowing about their VA burial benefits. And that's caused a lot of veterans, again, to have some issues. To address that gap, your VSO has established some permanent benefits that they're going to have me go over. They really set these meetings up for three reasons, Jay. Number one, they want to make sure when something happens to you, that you and your family have all of the knowledge and information that they need. They want to make sure that your family knows what to do, where to go, and who to call regarding any of your VA and VFW benefits. Now, the second thing that they have me do is go over a will, like a final will and testament. They found that a lot of veterans needed help updating their estate. So your VFW post is providing that here to all the veterans through American Income as a thanks for your service. Finally, here, Jay, your VFW wants us to take a second to fill you in on exactly what you're covered for through the VA. They know that VA is not going to knock on you and your family's door and let you know you're owed something. They also want us to kind of go over all of your permanent benefits that are made available through your VFW post and American Income. Now, your VFW had partnered with American Income to design these benefits specifically for veterans and their families. My job's simple here today, Jay. I'm going to go over all the benefits you get as a veteran, update you on your VA benefit side of things, and I'll show you how those new veteran final expense benefits work for you as well. Good news is they have us meet on Zoom like this so you can see everything. There's nothing for you to worry about memorizing. You're welcome to take notes and ask questions, but again, everything we talk about, it's all going to get sent out to you here as we get wrapped up. So just kind of sit back, relax, and stop me if you have any questions. Sound fair?
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, Jay, the first thing that they want us to do is fill out this survey. They don't know your personal situation, but this is going to allow the VSO to better customize your benefits. So you're obviously a veteran, and you mentioned that you are married. Now, Jay, you're gonna be legal name Jeff Neal. Go ahead and confirm your date of birth there, sir.
11/02/93.
Okay. And any children?
Not yet.
Just
Uh,
a fur puppy. Okay. And your wife,
yeah.
what's her name?
Shelby.
Shelby. Okay.
Yep.
And that's Neil.
Yep.
And then for Miss Shelby, what's her date of birth?
Oh boy, I better get this right. No, 8/18/92.
Okay. Careful, don't end up in the doghouse.
Yeah, all right.
Now, you're the veteran here. Okay. Now, Shelby, she's not a veteran, right?
Nope,
Okay. I think over the phone you mentioned that you're an Army veteran, right?
the only one.
Hey, the one branch. Okay. Now, I'm sure you were honorably discharged. You mentioned that you're part of VFW. So, where did you serve overseas there?
I went to Kuwait.
Kuwait. Okay.
Yep.
Any service in like Afghanistan, Iraq, anything like that?
Nope, never touched ground in Afghanistan.
Okay. All right. And then, what was your rank at discharge?
E5
Okay.
for civilians. That's sergeant.
Sergeant, okay. I think my grandfather, he and my father were both 82nd Airborne. My grandfather finished out as a technical sergeant, I believe there.
Sweet.
Now, as you separated from service, did you end up converting any of your VA life insurance, like your SGLI, to a VGLI benefit?
What's that?
Okay, they're going to have me cover that with you before we wrap up. It's one of your VA life insurance options. You know, your VSO had noticed a lot of inconsistencies in what veterans are provided as they separate from service.
Oh, okay,
I'll
yeah,
go over
yeah.
all that with you here in a little bit. But Jay, we are going to be going over some general estate planning. I know it's not quite table talk, but had you considered or thought about like a burial or cremation for yourself?
Probably burial.
Okay. And then was that going to be the same there for Shelby?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, part of my responsibility is today I'm going to go over what VA covers you for in terms of final resting. Were you planning on being buried there at a VA cemetery or maybe privately with family?
VA.
Okay. And then we can go ahead and get that with Shelby as well. Now, you mentioned that you're part of VFW. Are you a lifetime member here with VFW?
Yep.
Okay. All right. A lot of VSOs we work with. Let's find the right one. Veterans of Foreign War. Okay. So you're already set up. You obviously discharged honorably and you served overseas. Now, from here, they had me go over just a little bit more. Regarding your campaign service, did you receive any commendations or like service medals?
No.
Okay. All right. So what they're going to have me do next is just list out a little bit more basic information. You mentioned that you are employed. What is it that you're doing for work? You said you're driving a truck, right?
Yep.
Okay. And just ballpark here, Jay, it doesn't need to be exact. About how much would you say that you bring home monthly right now? Just ballpark.
Um, around 12K.
Around 12K a month.
Yeah.
Okay. So about 150,000, 140,000 a year, give or take. Now, is she working as well?
Yep.
Okay. And what line of work?
She's a nurse.
A nurse. Okay. Well, hey, not only do I need to thank you for your service, but I got to thank her. I'm sure it's been all sorts of crazy lately.
Yep.
Just ballpark, it doesn't need to be exact. About how much would you say that Shelby brings home on a monthly basis?
Uh, around 6, 7, something like that.
6,000? Okay. Wow. Family's doing really well. So about 72,000, give or take at the end of the year. Just ballpark. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what they're going to have me go through here next with you is some of the other benefits. First off, they're going to have me go through this information guide and booklet. Now, Jay, they wanted this set up to be kind of simplifying the steps your family takes when it comes to working with the VA. It's broken down to three parts: an information guide, a will. It's also going to have a summary of all your VA benefits. Now, Jay, here on the right-hand side of the page, you're going to see some key websites and resources. They want to make sure, again, you and your family know where to get help when you need it. You're going to see some stuff's in red, some stuff's in blue. The stuff in blue is everything from like home loans to home care. So whether you need help trying to set up your pension, setting up a home loan, or anything else, you can find your key resources here. Now, for Shelby, you're also going to see that some of these numbers and websites are highlighted in red. Those are very important for the family here, Jay, because that has to do more specifically with like your veteran life insurance and burial benefits. Does all that make sense so far?
Yep.
Okay. Now, I know it's not quite table talk here, Jay, what we're going to be going over. Essentially, survivor benefits, what's left behind for your family when you're gone. Your VFW knows that having this conversation can be tough. They also know that having the conversation now can save some of the burden from falling on your family. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. Well, first, I'm going to go over your family information guide. Essentially, it acts as like a roadmap for your estate. Again, they set this up just to make sure everything your family's entitled to comes back to the family. Your veterans had found that oftentimes when a veteran passes, that again, there'd be a lot of unclaimed benefits due to the family for one of three reasons. Either the family doesn't know what you have in place, they don't know where paperwork's kept, or maybe they know you have a benefit, Jay, but they don't know what company the benefit's through. The point of this information guide is that it eliminates all of those concerns. Once this is complete, you're not going to turn it back into your VA or even your service officer there. This is only for your personal use and records. I'm going to help you fill it out. That way, once it gets sent out, it's mostly completed. This first section that you see here, Jeff, vital statistics, this puts very basic information the family will need for like a death certificate or an obituary in one spot. So earlier we got the Jeff Neal 11293. Go ahead with the best email address, Jay.
jneil123 at yahoo.com.
123 at Yahoo. Okay, keeping it alive. And then you mentioned here that the 563-486-5342 was a good number for you.
Yep.
And then you're out of the Dallas area, right?
Yep.
Okay. How long has Dallas been home for you?
Too long. No. 3 years.
3 years. So you're getting settled in. All right. I've been able to go out that way a few times.
Yeah.
And now we also got Shelby, and you mentioned, we don't want to end up in the doghouse, but 81892 for her.
Yep.
Now, Jay, here on the right-hand side of the book, veteran information, this is where the family will find out basic information about your service record. That way, again, it can assist with anything the family needs for like a death certificate or an obituary. Now, if you need help getting a new copy of your DD-214, the email I send you when we're done, it'll have a link to request an additional copy. What I recommend most of my veterans do, Jay, just staple a copy of that right to this. That way everything's in one spot, okay? Jay, you've probably had a run-in or two at the VA. You know, as a veteran, it can be pretty difficult getting the help you need. It's even harder as a civilian. If your family doesn't have the right paperwork or isn't sure where to go, they end up in circles. Here with veterans to be notified, you can list out the most important veterans in your life so that Shelby and the family know who they can rely on when they need help. Jay, do you have any other veteran family members?
I got a cousin. He's in the Air Force.
Okay, so you said you got a cousin in the Air Force.
Yep.
We won't hold that against him. What's his name?
Jordan.
Jordan. Okay. And is that Neil or does he have a different last name?
Yep. Neil.
Okay. And is he local here in the Dallas area or is he like back home somewhere?
He's in Columbus.
Columbus, Ohio?
Yep.
Okay, there we go. And then any other veterans in the family besides your cousin?
Let's see. I have another cousin, Tina. She's in I think she was in the Air Force too.
Okay, there we go. And then with Tina, you said she's in the Air Force. Is she also out there in Columbus or what?
No, I think she's in San Diego.
San Diego, California. Okay, there we go. I got a good buddy there. All right. And then is that Neil or is she married?
Tina's last name is Davis.
Davis. Okay. And then real quick for Jordan and for Tina, are they married, either of them?
No.
Okay, so they're both single. Okay. All right, brother. Well, this is a good start to your list. What they will recommend is one more veteran that's local to you for Shelby. So again, it doesn't have to be a family member, it can be a friend. Any close buddies here in Dallas that you know are veterans?
In Dallas?
Mhm.
Does it have to be in Dallas?
I don't need to be in Dallas specifically,
No.
but just a veteran that's a little closer than Ohio or California, maybe.
Okay. Will.
Will, okay.
Yeah.
And his last name?
Benline.
Okay. Is that Benline?
That's the one.
Okay. And is he a buddy of yours or what?
Yep. That's my buddy.
Okay. All right. And what branch of service was he?
Army.
Okay, there we go. Now we're cooking. You keep good company. Now with Benline there, is he local to you in Dallas or what?
Yeah, he's in San Antonio.
San Antonio. Okay. Not too far up the road. All right. Very good. Well, this is a good start to the list. One of the important bits, though, here, Jay, is making sure, again, in an emergency that Shelby can get in contact with these veterans quickly and easily. So go ahead and pull out your cell phone. Go ahead and go to your contact list real quick. And let's start with Jordan. Go ahead with the full phone number whenever you're ready.
All right. Jordan's number is 247-565-5655.
Okay. And then for Tina, does she have like an 816 or an 818 number?
818.
Okay.
Let's see. Tina is 567-8911.
8911. Okay. And then last we got Will here. Whenever you're ready, does he have a local number or something different?
Yeah, 214-557-5577.
Okay. So that's a good start to your list. Definitely, it'll help out Shelby to have all of those listed. This next section is very important as well. Persons to be notified, Jay. They had found oftentimes when a veteran passes that, again, there can be a lot of unclaimed benefits out there, typically due to the silliest of all reasons, outdated or even incorrect beneficiary information. This section can act as like an extended beneficiary list, making sure, God forbid, when something happens, that the family gets access to benefits and help. So Jay, I'm sure when something happens to you, Shelby's your primary beneficiary and vice versa. But if something happened to both of you, who would be the first person responsible for handling arrangements?
Probably her mom.
Okay. And her mom?
Her mom's name is Kelby. Kelbi.
Okay. And then what's her last name?
Knight. Knight.
Okay. And you said this was your mother-in-law?
Yeah.
Okay. And is Kelby, is she married?
She's a widow.
Oh, my condolences. Okay. And then for Kelby, is she here in Dallas locally or where?
She's in Dearborn, Michigan.
Dearborn. Oh, so you're from Michigan, huh?
Well, I'm from everywhere, man. You know.
Ah, okay. Especially with being a trucker over the road, it makes sense. All right. Well, we got Kelby here listed. Let's go ahead and list out a few more. Who would be the next family member kind of responsible to be called on?
My sister Destiny.
Okay, is that Destiny?
Yep, that's
And
the
is
one.
that Neil or does she have a different last name?
Freeman.
Freeman?
Yep.
Okay, and that's your sister. Same simple questions. Is she back up north in Michigan or near you in Dallas?
She's in Atlanta.
Atlanta. Okay, yeah, you really got family all over the place. That's awesome. Let's go ahead and get a couple more. Who's next?
Let's see.
Any other siblings?
No, no siblings. I got an uncle who I'm close with. His name's Damon.
Damon, is that Damian or Ian?
Owen.
O-N, got it.
Yep.
Oh, Damon, right?
Yep.
All right. And is that Neil?
Yep.
You said this was an unk. All right. And then with your uncle, is he back in Dearborn?
Nope. He's in Columbus.
Columbus. All right. So you definitely got
Yep.
family all over the place. I can only imagine what sort of rivalries might come out when
Oh man, you have no idea.
you already knew where I was getting at. Okay. All right. Any other family members that you want to go ahead and list? Maybe like another uncle or an aunt, anybody else?
I think we're good.
Okay, that's definitely a good start to your list. Now, what I need to do additionally, especially since the family's so scattered across the country, I do need to list a few emergency contacts that are local. Again, they don't have to be a family member. It can be a friend, it can be a coworker, even a neighbor. If something happened and like you left the garage door open, who would be the first person that you kind of call to get some help?
Probably my best buddy Brandon.
Okay, so that's Brandon.
Yep.
And what's his last name?
No relation, but his last name's Neil.
Okay, small world. You said this is just a buddy of yours?
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned that he's local to you then, right? So he's there in
Yeah, he's
Dallas.
out here in Dallas. Yep.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get one more local contact. Again, it could be a family member, friend, coworker, whoever you want.
Hmm. I got another buddy, Mike. I don't know. Sometimes he doesn't answer the phone.
Okay. What's Mike's last name?
Con.
Khan. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is
Two
another
N's.
buddy of yours.
Yeah.
Is he here in Dallas or is he closer to like Fort Worth?
Yeah, he's right down the road actually. In Irving.
In Irving. Okay, there we go. That's where the Cowboys actually, that's where the stadium's at, right? Is Irving?
That's where it used to be.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, this is definitely a good start to your list that you have some family members, but also some friends. It'll be good that, again, Shelby can get the support she needs. A really important bit here, though, Jay, is making sure that we have up-to-date numbers on file for everybody. So let's start with your mother-in-law, Kelby. Detroit, is she going to have like a 313 or a 248 number?
I think it's 586. Actually, I
Okay.
know her number by heart. 586-939-1059.
Okay. Next, we got your sister, Destiny.
She's gonna be 248
Uh-huh.
303 3343.
Okay. And what about your uncle?
Oh, I gotta look him up. But I know it's a 614
Uh-huh.
505
Uh-huh.
4455.
Okay. We got a couple more here. We're almost done. I got Brandon.
248
Uh-huh.
842 0400.
Okay. Last but not least, we got your buddy Mike Kahn.
My buddy Mike, he has a 702 number.
Okay.
555 5777.
Okay. A lot of fives. I'm sure he's probably single. All the ladies think he's giving out a fake number, huh?
Yeah, you can't forget that
Okay.
one.
Well, like I said, this is a great list. The cool thing about it, the VSO knows that dealing with the loss of a loved one can be difficult, sometimes even very emotional for the family. So as thanks for your service and as thanks for these 5 people to be called on in an emergency, they actually get access to all your benefits. Here in a minute, I'll go over with you what that looks like. That being said here, Jay, to keep it moving, this next section you see, financial institutions, you're going to start to fill this out on your own once the book gets sent. But this gives you a spot to list out where you hold accounts so the family knows which accounts they may need to close. Jay, do you already have like a final will and testament in place for yourself?
No, no, not yet.
Okay, no worries. We'll talk about that in the next section here. What you're going to list here, though, is just where you keep the will on file, when it was last updated, and be sure to nominate an executor, whether it's Shelby or someone outside of the family. That being said here, Jay, that's going to bring us here to estate information. This is a very important spot. This is where you can list out to the family any like life insurance or group medical coverages that you carry. You're going to want to be very detailed here, listing out the coverage amount, the policy number, but also the company your benefits are through. Your family can't just Google search your name and see where you have your life insurance. So, Jay, when you separated from service there with the Army, did you end up converting any of your SGLI to a VGLI benefit? I think earlier you said that you didn't, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, no worries. You would know if you had it because it's something that you have to pay for. That being said, your VFW had found that many civilian and even VA benefits were temporary, just meaning they can periodically go up in price or eventually expire and not be there when our families need it. If you have anything that's set up like that, be sure to list it here in pencil. Now, if you do qualify for the permanent benefit through the VSO, you can actually list that here in pen because they've set those benefits up to be guaranteed and permanent. They never expire and they pay out no matter how you pass away. Uh, the VSO had established these benefits to be there for the rest of your life. They're going to have me cover all those options with you before we wrap up. Any questions on your benefit book so far, Jay?
Nope. So
Okay.
far, so good.
Last page of this is very important as well. Funeral service request. This is where you can list out exactly how you'd like your arrangements carried out. You can, again, be very detailed here to alleviate some of the burden. Earlier, you mentioned that you would prefer a burial, so we got that listed. But Jay, if you would prefer like a traditional or a simple ceremony, you can list that here. And finally, where you'd like to be laid to rest, whether maybe back up home in Michigan or, here in Dallas. They're going to have me cover those VA benefit options with you here in just a little bit. But what your VSO has provided and set up for you and all the other veterans is called the Freedom of Choice Certificate. You'll likely see this hanging up on the poster board the next time that you stop in. The VSO had established this to take care of any and all out-of-pocket costs that might fall on the family for any end-of-life expense. So whether it's a burial, cremation, or otherwise, they want to give you and other veterans an opportunity to leave a legacy behind instead of a liability. They're going to have me cover all this with you before we wrap up, Jay. Any questions at all about your benefit book that we've outlined so far?
Nope. Not that I could think of.
Okay, very good. All right, Jay. So, that's going to be the family information guide. The next thing that they want me to do is go over the will. I like to joke here, Jay. They made the will so easy, even a Marine can do it. Comes complete with pictures and a box of Crayolas for them. What this does is start out with writing instructions for you, Jeff. And then from there, Jay, it's going to go through a simple but detailed 7-step process to set up your estate. They thought of everything. So whether it's, veterans with younger children, things like guardianship, nominating an executor, all the way down to listing out, any assets that you have and where you'd like them left. Very important that you're detailed here because again, anything not listed in the will can be held by the state with probate courts. We want to keep the government out of your affairs if at all possible. There's even a section if you need to like disinherit somebody. Now, again, Jay, you don't need to memorize any of this. It's all going to get sent out, but you just follow this 3-step process to set up your will. You go to the website, enter in the updated promo code. That'll make the preparation of your will completely at no cost, which saves you like $2,000 or more. Again, all you'll have to do is get your will completed and then take it to your local bank or credit union, and they'll help you notarize it. Pretty nice how easy they made that for all the veterans and families, yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely that's something better to have and not need than need and not have. Now, Jay, if you need any help or have any questions as you're filling out your will, you and Shelby are welcome to reach out to me, and I'm happy to take care of you, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, Jay. Next thing they're going to do is have me go over your VA benefit side of things. What they've done, they want me to address your VA survivor benefits. They've simplified everything as much as possible because they know working with the VA can be kind of difficult. What they've done here, Jay, is broken down your VA survivor benefits to these 3 important facts. Numbers 1 and 2 are for veterans seeking a VA arrangement. Point 3 is for everybody else. So Jay, VA wants you to know that they own and operate about 150 cemeteries across the country. The thing is, each cemetery is very different. Realize some might only accept earth burials, others might only accept cremations. Some require a Medal of Honor to gain access, while others are closed entirely due to running out of space. The long story short, Jay, is that you can no longer, and other veterans can no longer reserve space ahead of time. You can, however, pre-register by putting your paperwork on file. What'll happen, Jay, is I'm going to send you an email when we're done. It'll include this link where you can click on Texas if you'd like, and it'll show you where all the cemeteries are here in the state. Again, each of these markers you can click on, and it'll show you the location, the contact, as well as the availability. And notice that some might say call for status, others might say open, others might even say, again, cremation only. Realize as a veteran, you have access not only to the cemeteries here in Texas, but if you'd like, Jay, you can always go back home to Michigan or even in Ohio, okay? But again, just keep in mind, while you can put your paperwork on file at the individual cemetery, it's still going to depend at time of passing if VA can accommodate you there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Even if it's not option A for you, maybe you are planning a private arrangement, it doesn't hurt to put your paperwork on file. Now, you're covered for a heck of a lot more at a VA cemetery versus going to a private arrangement. At the VA cemetery, they're going to provide both you and Shelby an assigned space. They'll also take care of opening and closing cost, grave liner, headstone, or marker. VA provides care and upkeep at no cost to the family. So the easy way to think of that, Jay, VA is going to give you a very nice place to rest. The challenge is everything to get you there and prepared. Those are all things that will fall on the family. So with you wanting to be buried, your actual like casket, embalmment, the vault, and transportation, those are things that are likely going to fall on the family's preparations. However, once you reach a VA cemetery, they're going to cover the plot, headstone, and everything from that point on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Jay, if for whatever reason you or Shelby decide to seek private arrangements, that's okay. Just understand VA doesn't cover everything in that note. What they would do is provide the family about $200 for a headstone or marker reimbursement, up to about $900 for like a burial or plot reimbursement. And then finally, if you're a service connected or service disabled veteran, if you pass away due to something on your service record, the family can claim up to an additional $2,000 for like a service connected or service related death. Important to note that veteran caskets and urns are not free unless your death occurred while on active duty. No matter which route you decide to go, Jay, your surviving family can request a memorial certificate, burial flags, And then, like I alluded to, Shelby also gets access to the VA cemeteries, even if she does predecease you as the veteran. I know it's not quite table talk. I know the benefits are kind of limited. Any questions about the VA benefit side of these things, Jay, and how all that works?
That's all they give us?
It's unfortunately it's true. And you might know a veteran buddy or two that thinks VA covers everything. You might know a veteran or buddy or two that thinks VA doesn't cover anything at all. As you can see, Jay, it's kind of in the middle. The VA benefits are very limited. That's exactly why VFW has set up some additional programs. But before we go over that, as we wrap up your no matter what benefits, like I just mentioned, your VFW had found that only 1 in every 200 veterans are even aware of these programs and what they're entitled to. Your VFW wants to ensure that every veteran knows their benefits and, more importantly, that they have access to the same information. Your VFW was concerned. They noticed there can be a lot of inconsistencies in what veterans are provided after they're discharged. That's especially important with over 1,700 veterans passing away daily. Jay, that's about 50,000 veteran families looking for these benefits every single month. Unfortunately, many of those families are trying to look for the benefits after something's already happened, which unfortunately is too late. It leaves the burden on the family. Now, VFW needs your help here, Jay. Can they count on you to support their efforts to protect and educate our nation's veterans?
Of course.
Well, they're not looking for a donation, but what they are hoping is that you'll honor your soldier's creed and extend out a helping hand to leave no comrade behind. So we got a few veterans earlier with your cousins and Will Benline there. But what most veterans are going to do is extend the benefits out to at least 5 veterans. So let's go ahead and get 2 more. They can be a friend, a family member, it doesn't matter. But who's the next veteran that you wanted to go ahead and extend out a helping hand to?
Let's go with Ronald. First name Ronald, last name Fuzzy.
Ronald Fuzzy, okay. I'm sure you got a good bit of something for it when he was in service on it. Now, you said that this was a friend of yours. Is he a battle buddy or just a friend that you met outside of service?
Yep, that's my battle.
Okay, so he's also in the Army then. Now, is he here local or is he back in Ohio or what?
Oh boy. I don't know where Ronald is. It's probably somewhere under a rock in Nevada.
Okay, well, there's not too much going on in Nevada. You think he's down south in like Las Vegas?
Yeah, probably.
Well, hopefully he's staying safe up there. And you
Probably
mentioned that
not.
he was a battle buddy, so he served in the Army with you. Okay. Now let's go ahead and get one more vet. Who's next?
Chip.
Chip. Is that his legal name is Chip?
Yep, that's what his mama named him.
Okay. And what's his last name?
Last name Davis.
Okay, Chip Davis. Got it. And this is another buddy of yours?
Yep.
Okay. And same simple questions. Is he an Army vet?
No, this guy's a Marine.
Oh my goodness. I'll get him a
Yeah.
box of
You could
Crayolas.
tell by his name.
I bet, right? No, all good fun. Well, with Chip, what city is he out of?
He's in Atlanta.
Atlanta. Okay. All right. Well, what we need to do is just make sure that these guys get their benefits. Is there any other veteran that you wanted to extend it out to?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. Again, we can only help veterans wanting the help, but Jay, we can only do it through veterans like yourself willing to extend out that helping hand. So at the end of the call, again, I'm going to email the information to you. If you think of any other veteran that you want to extend out, you can either reach out directly to me or respond to the email. Okay.
Got it.
All right, Jay. Well, let's make sure that we have an up-to-date number on file for everybody. So starting with Fuzzy, you mentioned that he's out of Nevada. Does he have a 702 or a 775
Yep.
number?
702
Okay.
776
Uh-huh.
5963.
Okay. And then we got Chip here. What's that going to be?
That's going to be a 404
Mm-hmm.
593
Mm-hmm.
6200.
Okay. All right. Like I said, that's a good list. We'll make sure that they get their benefits courtesy of VFW and American Income. Now, that being said here, sir, like I mentioned earlier, everyone that you've mentioned in your family information guide, they're automatically going to receive access to all of the veteran legacy benefits that we've covered here so far. Now, they're also going to get access to the permanent benefits that we're going to discuss here in just a minute. So aside from the veterans and that you've provided, your VFW has actually authorized you to extend out your benefits to those closest to you, even if they didn't serve. Now, your VFW does recommend that they need to be at least 21 years of age or older. They also either need to be employed or retired. And since these are veteran benefits, they got to be in good standing with the law. That being said, we don't solicit veterans or families. The VSO does require your permission to contact them so that they can receive access to the same benefits and information. So you mentioned earlier that you had your mother-in-law, your sister, your uncle, and then your buddies. You wanted to go ahead and activate your legacy benefits for everybody, right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So I'll make sure that they get access to all their benefits. The thing is here, you were able to gift out $20,000 of free insurance to all of your friends and family here. So what happens is they all get access to the same benefits you do, where they're going to get a $2,000 death benefit, no cost or compliments. They'll also get access to the burial guide and will, along with the permanent benefits and the health card I'm going to go over here in just a little bit. What we'll do here is go ahead and set up some three-way text messages so that they know we met today and that you want them to receive their own benefits. All I need you to do, Jay, is just respond back, "Thank you, Mike," so that they know I'm a real person and that I'm not trying to like refinance their mortgage or get them a new car warranty. Does that sound fair?
Yep.
Okay. So we'll make sure that we get them taken care of here. That being said here, Jay, the next thing that they want me to do is go over your VSO benefits. Now, they know that the VA benefits are clear, but they're also pretty clearly lacking. So they realize that that VA burial allowance isn't enough to cover your funeral, let alone the final expenses that'll fall back on the family as well. That's exactly why VFW and the other VSOs have partnered here with American Income to make available to you some benefits through the voluntary cooperation of veteran organizations and American Income. Now, Jay, these are supplemental. That just means they're not in competition with any benefit you currently have in place, whether it's through VA or outside of VA. They know you likely already have life insurance or arrangements carried out. They've seen, however, that a lot of those VA and civilian benefits are temporary. They're things that aren't always there when your family needs it. So, Jay, they've set these benefits up to be permanent, meaning they never expire, but also guaranteed they pay out no matter how you pass away. The final thing is they've negotiated and set up these benefits to pay out as soon as 24 hours after receiving a death certificate. So essentially, any life insurance you have, that's good. That's for after you die. Your veteran freedom of choice benefit is meant to be for when you pass because it covers those immediate burdens immediately. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, there are several benefits that you can qualify for here today. If you do qualify, the coverages are going to last a lifetime and be under your independent control. They just ask that you take a few more minutes to listen to the representative visiting. And if any of these benefits meet an area of need, Jay, they recommend that you take advantage of them here today while we're meeting on Zoom. So what that's all saying here, Jay, is that after I show you all of your benefits and explain how they work, I'll answer any questions that you have. If you're able to qualify, you and Shelby will be able to take advantage of these benefits today during your servicing period. Jay, do you know why they suggest that you take advantage of your benefits today?
No.
Well, it's because we never know what's going to happen tomorrow. With 1,700 veterans passing away daily, Jay, there's many veteran families that need help. Now, Jay, they just ask at the end of the call today that you let me know yes or no if you did want to qualify for your benefits. That's out of respect and courtesy to the countless veteran families patiently waiting for the help that they need. Is that fair?
Yep.
Again, the only thing that they do ask of you here at the end of the call, whether you do qualify for your benefit or not, they're going to want us to take some time to fill out a report form together. That's going to go back to VFW just so that they know I did my job and I went over your benefits. Is that fair?
Yes, fair.
Okay. Well, Jay, the next benefits I'm going to go over are by far the most important. They're your permanent benefits. But just because you're a veteran in good standing doesn't mean you can automatically get access to everything. You still have to qualify. They had me ask you a few quick questions to see if we can move forward. First off, Jay, do you use you or Shelby use any medications at all?
No,
None at all. Okay. Any health issues in your lifetime, like high blood pressure, diabetes, anything at all?
nope,
Okay. No like sleep apnea, anything like that?
nah,
Okay. Do you or Shelby use tobacco or marijuana in any form?
nope.
Okay. And then the last 10 years here, Jay, any arrest record or DUIs?
No boy, nah, just kidding. No,
Couldn't catch you if they wanted to, huh? Okay.
nope.
Well, finally, Jay, do you have any health issues that run in the family at all?
Uh, does crazy count? No,
Maybe a little bit.
nah, no health issues.
Okay, that's a blessing. Unfortunately, my family, we have some cancer and some heart issues, but no issues with like your grandparents or otherwise where they passed away due to like unnatural causes.
Uh, nope. They lived a long, healthy life.
God bless the Neal family as well, taken care of. All right. Well, from there, Jay, I'm not the final say on if you'll qualify for everything, but they are going to let me show you a few different benefit options. It's really important to understand here, Jay, as we move forward, that when it comes to your permanent benefits, they have a sit down with all the veterans individually. That's just because they realize, Jay, what's right for you isn't necessarily going to be the same thing that's right for another veteran. Everybody has different needs and wants. They're in different situations. That's why they have a sit down with you individually so we can customize your benefits to fit your individual needs. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the next questions I ask are again, just making sure benefits are customized to fit you and your situation. All right, Jay. So, like I said, these questions just make sure your benefits are customized to fit your situation. That being said, not to get in your business, but I got it started out for you and Shelby. I got Jeff and Shelby Neal, 11293, 81892. You mentioned that you're in the transportation or trucking industry, and Miss Shelby's a nurse. Now, you mentioned earlier there's no children under the age of 18. With you still being employed, Jeff, do you carry any life insurance through your trucking company?
Yeah, I don't know how much it is though, but
Okay.
if I ballpark, maybe around 70K.
Okay. Usually with work insurance, it's either going to be like 10, 25, 50, or like 100,000, but you said yours is about 70.
Yeah,
Okay. And then with Shelby, with her employer, is she carrying any coverage through work?
yeah, I think it's 100,000.
Okay. And then from there, Jay, had you guys set up anything privately outside of work or the VA?
No,
Okay. All right. Well, to continue moving here, again, not to get in your business, but do you guys currently rent or own your home?
we rent
Okay. Just ballpark here about how much is the rent?
1,700.
Okay. So with the utilities and whatnot, we're probably closer to about 2,200.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, yeah.
Thanks. Just ballpark. Okay. So we're not worried about a mortgage in case of passing, not worried about a college education fund for kids, and we are happily married. How long have you and Shelby been together now?
5 years.
Okay, there we go. Well, with all that being said here, your VFW, they base everything off of income and affordability. Earlier, you had mentioned that Drucken, you're pulling about $12,000 a month, and Miss Shelby, you said, is pulling about $6,000 a month with nursing. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, very good. Well, with Texas being a probate state, if you pass away with large debts over 10,000, those are things that can fall back on the family in the form of a final expense. So they just had me ask you here real quick, other than the mortgage that you're paying off, or I'm sorry, you said no mortgage. Other than that, any large debts over 10,000 currently?
Uh, yeah, I just bought a motorcycle a few months
Okay, what'd you
ago.
get? Did you get a Harley?
No, I got a Gixxer.
Okay, there we
Yeah.
go. About how much is left on the Jigsaw? Just ballpark.
Maybe seven, eight.
7 or 8 thousand. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Other than the Jigsaw, any other large debts over 10,000? Like, are you paying off any vehicles still?
Uh, we might have no, nothing over 10.
Okay. So any like student loans, personal loans, anything like that at all?
You know what? I just thought about it. She has about $25,000 in student loans.
About 25,000 of student loans. Okay.
Yeah.
No worries. I don't want to tell you how much my wife has. Okay, very good. All right. So from there, let's see. Any other than the student loans for about 20,000, any other debts over 10,000 at all?
Nope.
Okay. So you guys are doing pretty well for yourselves. That's good to see. Well, from here, sir, your VFW sets up a few different benefits. I'm going to go ahead and get those drafted out and sent over to them. But, as I get all that set up here, Jay, let me ask you, have you ever had to personally like plan or maybe just participate in planning like a funeral or a service?
Yeah,
My condolences. Was it a friend or a family
brother,
member? One more time.
brother.
That's tough there. I was 15 when I lost my mom to breast cancer. It was a battle, to say the least. My father passed away a few years later. I can only imagine the
Sorry to
hurt
hear
though,
that.
losing a sibling. That's difficult, man. How long ago did that happen?
2 years.
Okay. Well, again, my condolences for the loss. May they rest in peace. Now you realize firsthand then, especially, being a service member, but also having experienced it yourself, that, death is something that we all face and unfortunately have to deal with. The unfortunate truth of the matter is that it affects us all, Jay. Now, that being said, it's not a matter of if, but more so when something happens. Uh, the biggest concern that your VFW and veterans have is that the cost of funerals and final expenses typically fall on the family because, as you saw earlier, the VA benefits are pretty limited. You said yourself, that's all we get. And, when you pass, the funeral director is likely going to be empathetic, like you experienced yourself with your brother, where they probably said, I'm sorry for your loss. But the next words out of the funeral director's mouth was probably, the cremation is going to be $4,000. The burial is going to be $15,000. Will that be cash or credit?
Yep.
And it's unfortunate because they're going to expect that the family put all or even a bulk of the money up front before they really start to do anything. Now, traditionally, Jay, veterans like yourself would handle arrangements one of three ways. The first being savings, which I'm sure obviously pulling in what you're pulling monthly and working as hard as you do, that savings that you're building, that's not something that you want to bury out back and die on. It's something that you want to enjoy and live on with Shelby. Travel, build a family, right? Some veterans might be in the situation, sure, where they can put $20,000 in a glass jar, bury it out back, and say, break this open when I die. But you and I both know that there's more than a handful of veterans that are just trying to make ends meet these days. Not to mention, the number one cause of bankruptcy in the United States, Jay, is actually final expenses and medical debt. We never know how we're going to pass away. I went through it personally, seeing the battles that my father went through with my mom, where, he ended up even having to sell his business to help pay for some of the medical bills. VFW and the veteran organizations have seen six, even seven-figure estates dwindle down to next to nothing after a battle of an illness like that. And Jay, we don't just get a glass of milk and die these days. More often than not, the family has to battle some sort of serious health condition. All right. Second way that a lot of veterans would handle arrangements is a prepaid option where they go to a local funeral parlor and try to set something up there directly. Again, that can be a good option for some, but oftentimes a lot of veterans call those hostage situations where, especially in your shoes, you've been in Dallas 3 years. Let's say that you prepay something out here in Dallas, but then your uncle and cousin say, "Hey, come check us out in Columbus or back home in Michigan." At that point, God forbid something happens to you while you're away. Now your family has to, face a large out-of-pocket expense to essentially get you back to Dallas. Otherwise, they risk throwing away everything that you put into that benefit. Not to mention, again, I'm sure as you drive around Dallas, you're noticing it doesn't look the same today as it did 10, 15 years ago. Businesses unfortunately go under, and funeral homes are really no exception, Jay. If you or another veteran set up an option individually and directly with a funeral parlor, if that place goes out of business, they don't have to honor the same contracts. So for a variety of reasons, those prepaid options that were popular with our parents and grandparents, you're seeing them less and less popular these days, Jay, for a variety of reasons that I just touched on. Now, that being said, third and final route is traditional life insurance. Only thing being there, Jay, is not all benefits are created equally. Oftentimes, those benefits are found to be temporary, Other times they have specific qualifications where you almost have to wear a purple shirt on a Tuesday and get struck by lightning for the benefit to come back to the family. Worse yet is that open market companies, they can legally hold on to your money for 3, 6, 9, even 12 months before they have to pay a dime to the family because they want to wait and build all the interest that they can, see if they can find a way out of paying out the benefit. Now, that didn't sit right with the veterans and the VSOs, Jay. So, what they set up for you is called the Freedom of Choice Certificate. So, the next time you stop by your post, you're probably going to see this hanging up on the poster board. It's set up to be the only thing that the family is ever responsible for. They're able to take this to any funeral home or crematorium all across the country. And from that point on, everything's meant to be taken care of. Now, Jay, that means that Shelby never has to bring in her checkbook. Kelby never has to put anything down on a credit card. They're able to take this certificate anywhere, and it's accepted just like cash. Now, that being said here, Jay, typical life insurance, big bold print in the middle, it's going to say how much the benefit's for. So if you or Shelby walk into the funeral parlor with a $20,000 benefit, the funeral director's seen a $20,000 written out check, and they're going to try to get every penny of it that they can. How your VSO arranged that this benefit be set up, it's essentially a blank check. Nowhere on the certificate does it say how much coverage you have. That makes it where you and the family know you can take it anywhere. The funeral director knows that they're going to get paid and paid out immediately. But most importantly, they never know how much is there, making sure that the funeral director gets their fair check, while every penny over that comes back to your family where it belongs. Does that make sense?
Yep.
A lot of veterans really like how that's set up. Now, Jay, wouldn't you say it gives you peace of mind knowing that on the worst day of Shelby's life, when she has to take care of your arrangements, that there's a few less things that she has to worry about at that time?
Definitely.
A lot of veterans would agree. Now, that being said here, Jay, there's a couple of different plan options for you. This is what the VSO recommends in your situation. They recommend $100,000 of coverage for both you and Shelby. The important thing that you see there is that that's made payable for any cause of death. So that's whether something happens naturally, sickness, illness, accident, it does not matter. That 100,000 will not only pay out, but it's meant to pay out immediately. And again, when your funeral cost is less than that death benefit, the difference is always going to come back home to the family where it belongs. Okay. It doesn't matter how old you get, that'll always be there for you when the family needs it. Now, Jay, I'm not the big guy upstairs. There are a few riders attached to your benefit where, again, we never know how, why, or where we're going to pass away, especially with you being an over-the-road trucker. God forbid you do pass away in some sort of accident while you're, attaching a load or whatever. An additional 30,000 is going to pay out to the family in that case. If it's something serious where you're involved in like an auto wreck, that's going to be a total of 160,000 that would pay out to the family. And then finally, a common carrier. That's if you're ever a passenger on like a plane, train, bus, ferry, and something goes down, catastrophic. That would be a total of 250,000. So 250,000 would pay out for either you or Shelby if something like that happened. Okay. Essentially here, Jay, it's just making sure, again, on the worst day of the family's life, whether it's expected, unexpected, that the family has a few less burdens put on their feet at that time and shoulders. All right. Does all that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, that being said, a lot of veterans love that immediate payout. They're trying to get it set up for the family. Jay, with you and Shelby still working, they realize you have access to VA medical care. However, if you get hurt and have to miss a shift or a route, you're not getting paid the same wages, which means bills can quickly pile up at home. So with this hospital benefit, it's pretty cool. What they've set up is making sure, God forbid, when you do pass, or I'm sorry, God forbid, if you are ever hurt in an accident, rather, you're getting paid $150 just for taking the time to go get an injury looked at. If it is something serious enough that you're admitted overnight, they're paying you directly what's $300 per day that you're there in the hospital, and that's up to a whole year. So that's $2,100 a week coming in like clockwork to make sure, again, bills stay paid and food stays on the table. Even if VA covers all your medical bills or your healthcare does, that's fine. This always pays out directly to you, so you can use it however you need. Only exception, Jay, is if it's something like really serious and you're put into the ICU, a total of $600 pays out per day for up to 2 weeks before it goes down to that $300 a day benefit for the rest of the year. That's all tax and probate free. Again, just making sure if the family needs the help, it's there for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, finally, Jay, the whole point of these meetings and these benefits is making sure, God forbid, when, something happens and the family needs help, and, unfortunately, you might not be able or be there to provide it, that you have the backing of the veterans to help take care of things. Obviously, when we die, so does our income. And I'm sure Shelby and you are used to living a certain lifestyle together that, again, if your income's gone, things can quickly change overnight. So this last benefit's one of the coolest, where what they've actually been able to do here, Jay, they've set up what's called the paycheck replacement benefit, where for 12 full months, a full year, month in, month out, Shelby's going to get your same $12,000 check in the mail, month in, month out for a whole year, making sure that, again, as bills come due, that there's a check to put on top of it all. Same thing on Shelby's side. God forbid something happens to her, Jay. You're going to get her $6,000 check month in, month out for 12 full months. Again, giving you time to grieve, adjust, and plan out the next steps. I know if anything happened to my wife, the kids and I, we'd probably be eating Pop-Tarts for a whole year. So this $6,000, again, it's going to give you something that whether it's, you need to pay for additional daycare, whatever it be, if that's the case when something happens, that you and Shelby have access to it. Okay. Pretty nice how they set that up as a benefit for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see if we can get you qualified for it. Now, that being said here, let's face it here, Jay, when it comes down to it, we're all going to pass away. It's something that we don't have a lot of choice or control over. It typically comes down to veterans like yourself taking care of something like this now, or realize the burden's going to fall on your family in the future. Now, Jay, I'm sure this is the first time someone's gone over your VSO benefits like this with you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because realize at the end of the day, my job to show you how the benefits work and answer any questions you have about them. Now, as veterans, we're trying to set stuff up like this on their own. They would do things like sit down and visit with a financial advisor. Now, financial advisors were telling our veterans to try and set aside about 30% of their check away on things like insurances, medical debts, funerals, and the like. Thing is, Jay, if you're setting aside 30% of your check, you're setting aside about $3,600 a month. If you're doing that, pat on the back to you. I know I couldn't do it. I probably wouldn't want to do it either. I got a family to feed. Now, the reason why VFW and the other service organizations set these benefits up like this through us is we base everything off of income and affordability. They won't let you go above 15%, even if you wanted to. Now, with that being said, Jay, the VSO has set up a couple of different benefit options for you, what's known as a recommended plan and an enhanced option. The recommended plan, it's going to be the plan that I outlined, where it's going to give you the $300 a day hospital benefit, $100,000 of guaranteed whole life coverage, along with a full year of that income coming in when something happens to either of you. Now, again, this is where most veterans are going to start out. It's right around $5 a day each, or what would be about $291 a month altogether for both of you. Jay, some vets get really excited about this stuff and ask if they can qualify for more. That would be more along the lines of our enhanced option. It's a lot more coverage where you actually have a $500 a day hospital benefit and $150,000 for your freedom of choice certificate. Not only that, but instead of 1 year of your income, Jay, this program has 5 full years or 60 months of your same paycheck coming into Shelby, month in, month out, like clockwork, making sure, again, she has adequate time to grieve, adjust, and plan out any next steps that she might need to take at that time. Okay. Again, this is a great benefit. However, it's a little on the higher scale and it is a lot harder to qualify for, where you're setting aside what would be about $10 a day each, or what would be right around $613 a month. And that's all together for both of you. Something that's probably affordable, Jay, but not very comfortable. That's why most veterans, they're going to start with a recommended option like this, knowing that once they're qualified, they can always add on additional coverages. So Jay, it doesn't matter to me, the VSO, VA, or anybody else, which option you want to qualify for, just whichever one makes the most sense for you. Which one do you think makes the most sense?
So That recommended one is for 291.
Yep, and that's all together for both of you.
Okay. I don't know, man. I don't know if we can afford 291 a month.
Can't afford it. I mean, even if we're just basing it off of your income, Jay, I mean, we're talking what's only like 2% of your income, not even counting what's there with Shelby. So I mean, let's set the money aside real quick and just go through a couple of questions to make sure we're on the same page. The VSO had set these benefits up to be permanent. That means they never expire and they're guaranteed. They're set up to pay out no matter how you pass away. So Jay, you understand that one day this is something you and Shelby are guaranteed to use, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, Jay, obviously you have some coverages through work, but I'm sure you're not planning on working until you retire or die, or I'm sorry, I'm sure you're not planning on working until you die. So realize this is something that's permanent for you. It'll always be there. Would you say that your wife, Shelby, is she better having a year of your income coming in, month out when you pass away? Is she better off having $100,000 guaranteed payout to the family over and above that year of income? Is she better with this stuff or is she better without it?
Well, she's better with it. I just don't know, if 291 is something we can twing.
Okay, well, yeah, and that brings me to the last spot is again making sure it's something that's affordable. Because again, Jay, they always want to make sure that this is a benefit to you. Again, if it's taking food off the table, I'll be the first one to tell you that timing's everything. Are you saying the 291 is that taking food off the table or it's just a little uncomfortable?
It's not taking food off the table, but yeah, it's a little uncomfortable.
Okay. Well, again, Jay, they always want this to be a benefit to you. The nice thing about this program is that it does lock in your age and health. So, I mean, it sounds like this is the best benefit for you as long as it's not taking food off the table. Because realize whether it's a matter of comfort or not, again, Jay, you've experienced it firsthand with the loss of your brother. We're all going to die. It's something that we don't have a lot of choice or control over. And it can often be a little uncomfortable. But again, if this is something that's financially feasible for the family and you understand it's something that your family's better with than without, it sounds like it's in your best interest to set up this recommended option.
Yeah, I definitely see the benefit of having it, but yeah, I don't know, man.
Okay. So it's not a garage sale, Jay. I can't really haggle the prices here. It sounds like, again, it's something that you see value in and you understand the importance. It's just, again, making sure it's something that the family can adequately budget month in, month out. Am I right?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, like I said, it's not a garage sale. I can't haggle the prices, but I'm glad you let me know because, again, my job's to customize the benefit to fit you and Shelby's needs. That being said, what we can always do is qualify for a little less coverage, but again, set ourselves up for success in the long run. So give me just a moment here while I look at your benefit and see what we could do to help you out. Okay, so this is what they sent back, Jay. It's a little less coverage, but it is a heck of a lot more affordable. It's what's known as your essential option. What this does, it sets up a $200 a day hospital benefit for you. So again, any day that you're in the hospital, the family's getting a $200 check. That's 1,400 bucks a week coming in like clockwork. We don't necessarily need to give you the gold-plated mausoleum and everything there, but you do have a $60,000 freedom of choice certificate here with your essential option. More importantly, though, instead of your full check coming in for the whole year, what this essential option does is set up the paycheck replacement benefit for about half of your benefit. So it's a $5,000 benefit month in, month out for a full year. Again, Jay, once you're qualified for this program, you can always add on the additional programs later, but at least this locks in your current age and health. And this program, it's only $5 a day, what would be about 156 a month. I'm sure that's a lot more affordable for you and Shelby right now, right?
yeah, that's a lot better.
Okay. So same questions, right? You still understand this is something you're going to use, right?
Right,
Is Shelby better having this in place or is she better without it?
better having it.
Okay. And then again, Jay, I want it to be a benefit. You're sure that the 155, give or take, that's something month in, month out that you and Shelby can comfortably afford?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. Well, Jay, it sounds like the benefit's in your best interest. What I need you to do, go ahead and grab your driver's license, any and all medications that you are prescribed to take by a doctor. And then this does come out directly from a veteran's like checking your savings account. Go ahead and grab like a checkbook or mobile banking. I'll go ahead and get your application pulled up and we'll get you all taken care of. Okay.